Let's do what the stage is set. Look at that. Look at that sun shining brightly behind us on this final day of 2024, and we are delighted you have gotten up with us. Graziano is ready to roll. Neek is ready to roll. Tim Hasselbeck is up early with us this morning talking football. We'll have Greg McElroy and Sir Paul coming along shortly to get us ready for the college football games. So we begin with a fascinating game last night in San Francisco. Lots of fun being had in a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, the Lions and the 49ers. Pick it up early, San Francisco with the lead. Second quarter, Dominique, tricky Lions all the time.
Their trick plays don't look like trick plays because they are so effectively executed time in and time out, and they are going to need them down the stretch.
They practice them a lot, I promise.
It's Jamison Williams who takes it in for what was his second touchdown of the night. San Francisco a 14-13 lead. Next 49er drive, Brock Purdy, wide toss to anyone else. Sneak when you can take it yourself.
Oh yeah, Brock, the pump fake, get him diving in. Look at that athlete.
49ers up 21-13 at halftime. Now we're early in the third. Lions third and goal from the 7. It's Goff. It's Laporta. So efficient down by the goal line.
Yeah, the accuracy on that pass right there is really impressive, and you can always trust Laporta to hold on to it.
They go for the 2 and get it, so we're tied at 21, and then it's Purdy, and it's Deebo Samuel, and he is going to take it in. Oh, back and forth we go. 28-21 San Francisco. It's 28-24 midway through the third. Dominique tips and overthrows.
Oh, you got to get him, especially when you're as depleted as the Lions. The opponent's going to make mistakes. You got to capitalize every time, and they did last night.
Kirby Joseph with his 8th interception of the season. Dan Campbell loves it. Off the takeaway, they're going for it on 4th and 4 because, of course, they are. And it's Goff, and it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the Lions retake the lead at 31-28.
Man, and they're open. He catches 300 balls a year. What
is quite open. Midway through the 4th now. It's Purdy picked again. It's Joseph again.
Don't end the count for Joseph. He's up to 9. Oh, he's got to love Purdy. That's his new best friend.
9 interceptions on the season. That's the most in the NFL. Off the takeaway, Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey, Dan, he's fun to watch.
He's pretty fast, Greeny. Look at this. Getting the edge, and he's gone. Wasn't enough to help me win in fantasy, but he did his best.
163 yards for him. Goff, 303 and 3 touchdowns. Lions win. Coach Campbell, how about next week?
I mean, this is ultimately it. I mean, you couldn't write a better scenario. You couldn't come up with this. The fact that both teams are sitting at 14-2, and it's for the division and the 1 seed. It just doesn't get any better than this. Like, this is fairy tale stuff.
There's nothing I enjoy more than listening to that man talk. Anyway, unless you're not aware, what he's talking about is the Sunday night showdown. Graziano will be there covering it for us. The first division in the history of the NFL to have multiple 14-win teams will be decided Sunday night in Detroit. The stakes, I guess, as big as any we've ever seen. The winner wins the division and is the 1 seed in the NFC. The loser becomes the first team in NFL history to win 14 games and not win a division. That team instead will be the 5 seed and play on the road in the playoffs. I'm going to get to that part of the story in a minute. But first, the first thing you said to me this morning as we watched the highlights of this was, this game is exactly the way the Lions are going to need to play if they're going to win the championship.
They scored on every single drive they got the ball with the exception of one, and that drive was a 15-play drive. Because of the injuries that they had on their defense, their offense is going to have to be incredibly efficient and try to protect that defense and not make any mistakes. And Jared Goff in this Lions offense yesterday, they did that. And you know the opponent's going to make a mistake here or there, and you got to capitalize on it. So this was the perfect kind of layout. Unfortunately, the teams in the NFC playoffs are probably going to be a lot better than the way the 49ers are right now.
No, look, I mean, they've done this offensively to basically everyone all year. So, Tim Hasselbeck, I think it has been fashionable to say through much of this season, the Lions are the best team in the NFL. We've seen the injuries. Going into the final week, are the Lions the best team in the NFC?
I don't think they are. Listen, Greeny, people were saying it because they were the best team. But when you look at it now, they've had so many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. You just gave up 34 points to a 6-win team. So, I think when you look at them going into the postseason, facing better offenses, look, I think that's going to be a bit of an issue for them. And so, in terms of how important that game is, having home field advantage, getting a bye because they already are a banged-up team. So, I think all of those things, like who they were in, October and who they are now, I think are two, different teams.
I think you're going to have to see this is the formula, right? They're going to have to score on every drive. The more they have the ball, the better. Go for it on fourth down because that's one more play where you have the ball and they don't. And I think that's the formula. And then on defense, they're not going to be able to get like 3-and-out stops with the personnel they have on defense. It's just, I mean, Sam Darnold's going to pick apart that secondary on Sunday night. So can you get the timely interception? Can you get the sack that changes the drive and puts the other team behind the stick? That'll tell the story for that defense.
I'll give the Lions fans a little bit more optimism. There's something freeing to playing this way, knowing that you're going to go for it on every fourth down, knowing that you're bringing out the fake punts, you're bringing out the fake field goals, you're bringing out everything. And on defense, there's some freedom in knowing that the expectation is we got to make a couple plays.
Right.
We don't have to shut anybody down. So this team that is led by Dan Campbell, like I don't think that they are at a disadvantage from a mental standpoint, but obviously physically they're in a tough spot.
Yeah, if the message is you guys are going to have to score 40 points to win games, and you're Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, who's about to get 7 interviews for head coaching jobs here in a couple weeks, your answer is, okay, cool, we can do that. I mean, they can. I mean, that they have that kind of offense. There's stuff we haven't seen. Believe it or not, there's stuff we haven't seen yet.
And the message to the defense is you don't have to be perfect, but make the plays when you get the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not asking you to shut them down. We know they're going to move the ball, but when they give you an opportunity, you have to make the plays. It's a different,
Right.
And Sam Darnold, I mean, not just Sam Darnold, every quarterback through the course of a game is going to make some mistakes, pull at the ball, strip, and understanding that when you give up a play, you go in the huddle, you huddle up, we're going to be fine, and you have Dan Campbell yelling at you on the sideline, getting you fired up. Yeah, it's a nice situation to be in.
And our friend Teddy Bruschi on Sunday Countdown always says to me, Sam Darnold is going to throw you one every game. You have to catch it. If you're the defense, the key, you have to catch it. Don't miss the opportunity because he's going to give you at least one, and we'll see if he does.
Last year's Lions season turned when a ball went off of a defensive back's face mask and into the 49er receiver's hand.
That's exactly right.
Catch that ball, you're in last year's Super Bowl.
So Tim, and it's obviously today is Tuesday and that game is Sunday night. We'll have a lot of time to look at it. Let's put the Eagles for a brief moment in a separate category because they're going to be the 2 seed no matter what happens here, and the winner of Sunday night's game won't have to deal with them until the end. Right this minute, you just said you don't think the Lions are the best team anymore because of the injuries. We just watched Minnesota play. Who's better, the Vikings or the Lions? They're meeting Sunday night. Right now, which one looks like a better team to you?
I think Minnesota is. You know, you look at Minnesota, you look at the way they're playing on the defensive side of the ball. Listen, Brian Flores has done an amazing job over there. They create a lot of confusion with some of the stuff that he does, you know, gets into on third down. Sam Darnold's playing great. And then I think the biggest issue is you just look at the way Minnesota is playing up front. Like, they're keeping Sam Darnold clean. So I think that's a big issue. And then I think they're winning on the defensive front. So we talk so much about, you know, the players that score touchdowns and the quarterbacks and all of that. But I think Minnesota is a better team in the trenches, which ultimately, you know, a lot of times is a thing that indicates who wins a football game.
The loser of this game, insert either team you want, Vikings or Lions, is going to be 14-3 and is going to open the playoffs at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers will be 10-7 if they win this week. If Tampa Bay loses and the Falcons win this week, then the 14-3 Vikings or Lions would open at the 9-8 Atlanta Falcons the first week of the playoffs. And I'm sorry, that's just not okay with me. It's just not right. The entire point and they've done so many things great, the NFL, in increasing the significance of the regular season. Only one bye, all that. I love it. I love all of it. It's all about the regular season. A team that wins 14 games should not open the playoffs at a team that's 9-8. I don't like it.
The rules are set. These are the rules.
I know.
And they understand it. It doesn't mean that I understand that you can change it. I like the way that you think most of the time, but we just finished appreciating how huge the stakes are for this Sunday night game.
Yeah. Right.
You know why those stakes are so huge? It's because the winner goes from getting advanced in the playoffs to having to go on the road in the playoffs. And that, to me, is exciting and interesting. I don't want to change that. Like, I love it. And the idea that the division matters so much is something that football has over so many other sports. And I appreciate it. I don't want to change anything that degrades the value of winning your division.
And if you were to do that, you'd need to build in some lag time, because the fact of the matter is these teams build their rosters thinking about the other 3 teams in their divisions, right? You know you're going to have to play those teams each twice, and you know your best path to the playoffs is to finish at the top of that group of 4. So so with the Vikings and the Lions, it's your weird year, right? You could win 14 and not do it. But I think if you did that, it has come up. Right? Like a defending champion New Orleans Saints team goes to 7-9 Seattle and loses in the first round of the playoffs, the Marshawn Lynch run, right? Like that's a problem. You want your better teams to advance. But anytime this has ever come up at like a league meeting, the owners vote it down. It does not get traction. They want that home game if you win your division. You set out at the start of the season to do it, and they feel like it should be rewarded.
Yes, to be clear, I'm not suggesting that those teams shouldn't make the playoffs. I'm not saying a 7-9 or what now 7-10 or whatever it would be division champion shouldn't get in.
Right.
Seed them the way you want to seed them. You could still seed it 1 through 7. But give the team that had the better record home field advantage. It actually is increasing the significance of the regular season games, not decreasing the significance of the regular season games.
I mean, I guess it is. I mean, look, you set it up where you're playing division games at the end of the year in order to make sure that teams keep their best players on the field.
They're going to be 14-3. The loser of this game is going to be 14-3.
It's a quirk. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. We're talking about it because it's unusual.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. Your argument can't be like refuted on the fact that it seems fair, but I'm here for fun, and this is fun. I like the high stakes, and we appreciate the different cultures of different divisions, and that changes. To your point, you build a team to win your division in part because winning the division matters so damn much. You devalue that, then you build your team differently.
Tim,
another reason Sunday night's game is huge.
Tim, I can't be the lone sane voice here. Tim, which side of this are you on?
Yeah, you're not going to find it with me, I guess, Greeny. Look, when you look at the situation, I think you want these division games to mean so much, right? Like in the NFL, I don't think you want to, and I'm not saying we get rid of rivalries, but like the reality is when you get like Ravens Steelers and it means so much, I don't know that you want to get rid of that. And I think that if you just say, hey, like home field advantage is out of the question, if you end up, winning your division, even if you don't have the better record, like I think it'll do that.
Hey, you're not wrong that the better team should play at home, but it happens. It's unusual enough that I think Dominic's point is the right one. It's fun.
You're moving value, though. It's like fun.
It's not fun if you're Minnesota or Detroit. You're playing at
sure it is.
Tampa.
Detroit's 8-0 on the road. You heard the man.
From Saturday. All right. Like most geniuses, I will not be fully appreciated until long after my time.